We're back in Oak Hill, West Virginia. This was quite some time later. Both Edmunds and myself, more seasoning, more road aware. Edmunds was not quite the same opponent that I had faced in earlier contests. He was more vicious, more of a dangerous person. As you have the introductions out of the way, Gentleman Jim Hawkins calling giving the prelims right there. As Edmunds jumps me from behind, like I was saying, he was a much more dangerous competitor. Really knew what he was doing at this point in his career. Of course, I at this time as the West Virginia Southern Regional Wrestling Champion. Right here, as you see, fighting fire with fire. I had came off a tour of Puerto Rico. Had really just came into my own as a professional wrestler, was in great condition. As you see, an Enziguri right there, and Edmunds is out to the floor. Of course, he is at ringside with Just In Case. Big dive to the floor, catching him right there, and that's how high risk the situation was. We, at this point, hated each other. Down into the table at ringside. This was a blood feud at this point. The titles were on the line, but it was second hand, if you will. It was secondary business. Referee for the night's contest, Eric Foster, but as you see, Just In Case at ringside. And Edmunds always had the numbers game, whether it was Lance Malinowski, Mike Morgan, Handsome Bo James, or in this case, Just In Case. And I tell you what, he always needed somebody, but that just proved that how he thought. He always thought in terms of how can I take the advantage? What can I do to win a match? Because that's what he cared about, fans, was ultimately winning the match. The title came second hand. He wanted the money that came with being the victor. And of course, tonight, though, for the West Virginia Southern Regional Championship, a championship that was new to the area, very short-lived. I won it in a tournament in Beckley, West Virginia. Of course, this is right down the road as you see a full body slam. Oak Hill, West Virginia. Of course, this time we're in the infamous Oak Hill Armory, and everybody knows what happened not on this night, but nights later at the Oak Hill Armory. With myself and the fan has been well documented. You can check out on other DVDs that we talked about. But right now, this right here, one of our best contests. As you could just tell that both of us were in great shape. Eddie Edmunds right there using some finesse, using some wrestling holds. He started out as a big, bulky, burly strength wrestler, and then he became the wrestler that would stay on his horses, if he will, trying to outthink the opponent. But at this stage of the game, he could wrestle. He could use that weight. He was definitely a ring general. Both of us at this time in peak shape, and right there as you see a hip lock reaching in out of the reversal, using the wrestling holds. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, it was frustrating, and that was the thing with Eddie Edmunds. A lot of times, you have a course of literally 100 matches with one opponent. You get comfortable with the offensive maneuvers, the defensive maneuvers that they're going to throw against you, and you're going to throw against them, and it becomes a chess match. But the thing with Edmunds is that he just kept evolving. He kept getting better every single time that we got in there, and it made him even more dangerous because even though I wrestled him the night prior, or maybe the prior to that night, it just became that each night didn't rest on the laurels of yesterday. Each match got better with progression because he was a student of the game. He wanted to learn, and most importantly, he wanted to learn because he wanted to get rid of me. As you see, a big tackle right there, crossing over, going for that hip lock, but I managed to block it. Hip lock of my own. Following in with that huge arm drag and picking the big 291-pounder up, spinning him around and slamming him to the mat, going for the pin, hooking that leg, and right into the punch. And as you can see, that we're so intent on each other. Every move is measured. Drop toe hold there, going into the hammerlock, because we knew each other so well. And it was a chess game at this point. Who was going to outthink the other, which caused Edmunds to evolve into a better professional wrestler. And it came down to who was going to work on what body part and stay with it, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Doing right there with the arm bar, trying to weaken that left arm. And remember, Edmunds is a southpaw, so I'm going to work on that arm that he throws punches with, trying to take an offensive maneuver away. Duck of the clothesline. Duck of the clothesline again. Luthez press. Referee down. Big, huge drop kick. Following up with that arm drag once more. And the fans in Oak Hill behind the hometown boy. And that's the thing. I had such a warm response everywhere I went across the Mountain State. I mean, whether it was Kingwood, whether it was Buchanan, Clay, Oak Hill, it didn't matter where we went. The fans were so great, and they were always behind me as a competitor, behind me as a champion, or behind me as a challenger as well. And, looking back now, I sometimes wonder how much of a factor the hate factor, the fans had, the hatred for Eddie Edmunds, how much it really played into the whole grand scheme of things. And of course, just in case, who could like just in case? Just in case his own mother couldn't even stand him. Duck of the elbow. And catching him with that Mexican head scissors again. Edmunds down, trying to go for that cover. And he's out again. And that's like we've seen so many times in this DVD compilation. When Edmunds is in trouble, he goes for a hike. But you can see right there that I knew the game. I knew the game plan, and I wasn't going to let him run anymore. Big meeting of the minds. Of course, you can see the fans out of their seat at ringside and right into the chair at ringside for Edmunds. At that point, we didn't even care. We didn't care if there was going to be a disqualification. We wanted to bring blood. This was a blood feud. He hated me and I hated him just the same. Referee Eric Foster having his hands full on this night in Oak Hill, West Virginia. Delivering those big ham hock blows and delivering some martial arts style kicks. Irish whip into the corner. Following up with that arm drag, going right back, staying on that arm, trying to weaken that link in the chain, trying to keep him down. Again, this was Oak Hill, West Virginia, Southern Regional Championship, a limited time championship. It didn't last around very long. I'd won it in a tournament. I believe that it actually ended up being unified with the All-Star Wrestling United States Championship. When I won that United States Championship, the two belts went back and became one. They're retiring the Southern Regional Championship. Such a rich history as you see the duck of the clothesline, and again, and throwing me over the top rope, caught me going using my own momentum, but such a rich heritage of professional wrestling, the many championships. Of course, over the course of my career, I've been lucky enough to hold every single championship in the state of West Virginia. Just great fans here, great competition. As you see right here, Hot and Heavy's got me by the hair. I had those long hair right there, but he scoops me up. It was easy to manipulate me with the hair and drops me on that table. And fans, usually you see people go through tables, but it actually hurts more when the table doesn't break because it's an unforgiving surface. I mean, that table doesn't know he's in a wrestling match, but I sure do know that the table is in the match with me. Now he's taking me back to ringside, both of us with a handful of that hair. And Case right there jawing with the camera people, jawing with the fans at ringside. Where I thought we were going back to the ring, but it looks like we're going back over towards the other side of the arena, into that door, into that garage door, and it wasn't going anywhere. Edmunds just ramming my forehead right into that steel door with the West Virginia logo there. Eric Foster, and trying to tell Eddie Edmunds, hey, you need to not, you got to get it back in the ring. And I believe I've been busted open. I believe there's been a little bit of blood right there. Yes, I have been. As you can see, the blood starting to trickle down. And Edmunds, this is where he's the worst. This is where he's the most dangerous. When he smells blood, he's like a piranha, like a rabid shark, if you will. But he can't hold me down. Should have hooked that leg, and now he's going to go to work. He's going to go to work on that laceration in my forehead right there. Big left hand. Wasn't able to disable that left arm of his enough. And he's going to town as the blood is flowing. The blood flowing down in the eyes. The stinging sweat. The blood. Not only are you disoriented from the blood loss, but also it makes it very hard to see. And I believe he's got me right there, but you can see how he's got that chin lock on, but it's putting that pressure onto that wound, forcing the blood to come through that laceration. And referee Eric Foster at this point's got to be checking me. He's got to be checking to see how much that blood is. But this is the Mountain State, and they don't stop these matches unless there's definitely some chance of injury. And there's a lot of fight left in me at this point. As the fans are rallying behind, but I catch a boot and it went right into that exposed cut on the forehead. Edmunds follows up with a big devastating clothesline. Foot on the rope, only a 2 count as you hear at the crowd chanting, "Let's go, Logan, let's go." And now they're getting on the case of Justin Case, and I think he's got a chain, and now he's going to work on that already bloodied forehead, and it's the numbers game. It's always the numbers game. I never got a fair chance, but that's what I faced when I got in the ring each and every night. There was no excuses. You knew there were going to be managers, valets, sometimes even the fans, for Christ's sake. For goodness sake, you always had to be looking over your shoulder. You always had to be waiting for the unpredictable, just like that power slam out of nowhere. But managed to get out of that 2 count, out of that pinning predicament. Edmunds taking the referee, which is just opening up for Case to get in there to go back to town, choking me now with that chain that he had. And the fans at ringside are starting to get perturbed, starting to get heated up over what's going on here, over what they're watching. Oak Hill Armory, Oak Hill, West Virginia, the rematch some many years later from the match that we saw prior to this, which was the first encounter. Both of us seasoned veterans, both of us on top of our games. Eddie Edmunds had evolved, had become a more rounded competitor, had become a more dangerous competitor. I myself had many overseas tours, had many wrestling matches under my belt, right on the bubble, ready to really make my mark in professional wrestling, but just couldn't get past the challenge of Eddie Edmunds. Right here, rear chin lock, and the crowd again, "Let's go, Logan, let's go." Somehow giving me that strength, just like the 6th man in basketball, able for me to work my way up to a vertical base, but he gets me out of the ring and down on that hard concrete floor once again. This time with a steel chair, And Eric Foster letting this thing go, I mean, that should have been a blatant disqualification, but Eric Foster letting this thing go, I mean, it was not a no DQ match. Referee, I mean, I guess he just knew that something had to be settled. As many times as me and Edmunds had wrestled, sometimes, you had to let the two men fight. I mean, things like this escalate, they grow, and you just have to let the two men sort it out for themselves. As you see the leg drop, lackadaisical cover, he's not going to get me with that. Just trying to show me that he's better than me, that he's got one up on me. Head into the top turnbuckle. That's gotta put me on Queer Street at that point, with all the blood, the laceration, everything that's been taken out of the chair shot, and now he's going to work trying to keep me in that corner. "15 minutes gone in this grueling contest." I mean, these weren't just little short snippet matches. I mean, we were in there fighting every single night. But I'm starting to feel a little bit big right hand, and that's my equalizer through the entire time of my career. That right hand has been what has chopped people down to my size. Inverted atomic drop. Don't know if I got him all on that. Going for follow-up for the chin breaker. And a big clothesline of my own. Following up. That was the key to success, was multiple moves, being able to hit him with one and follow up with another one. And a little tit for tat. Now he's sent over the top rope into the floor. So many times these matches spill out, and so many times they go all over the arena. And I just want to give him a little bit back of what he already gave me, with the blood flowing, the crimson mass flowing down. The fans here in Oak Hill, West Virginia this night, they definitely got a wild affair. When anytime anyone, anywhere, whether it was Oak Hill or any of these other towns, as you see me using the chair on Edmunds, they got a wild affair when they saw Logan versus Edmunds on the marquee. They knew they were going to get their money's worth. Into the table. Eddie Edmunds reeling from the chair shot and the various objects at ringside. Case is livid. Just in case livid. And oh my gosh, there's a trash can. I was wondering where I was going. I was out of camera view. I guess I'd went in the locker room and got a chair, not a chair, but a trash can. I'm so excited here, I can't even call the action. Edmunds with the trash can blocked, and now I have it. Right to the forehead of Edmunds. Edmunds down, and here's one for Case, asking the fans, what do you think? And they want to see it. Can you give him one? Yes, I can. Right there. Just in case is down. Edmunds, worse for wear. Reversal of the whip. Sunset flip. Referee in position. 2 count. Edmunds managing to get out. Small package. Another 2 count. Going for that backslide, just trying to put Edmunds away by hitting him with the chair, by hitting him with the trash can. I just knew I had him. It was just a matter of getting the right combination of holds. 2 count. Kick to the gut, and DDT, and Edmunds just that quick, right back, just that quick. And I gotta be wondering, what do I have to do to get this man down? What is going to stop this guy? What is going to stop this Edmunds? They don't call him the Baltimore bad boy for no reason. He is as bad as they come, and he's a hard man to defeat. And now he's back to the advantage. And that was the thing with these matches. They just flip-flop back and forth into the corner. Nobody home. Looking for a Greco-Roman knuckle lock. Martial arts kicks. Going in for that short Northern Light suplex with the bridge. Referee in position. 1, 2, 3. Logan is the winner. What a contest.